Hello and welcome back for day 4. So if you did the work or the journaling yesterday, you will have maybe some newfound beliefs, hopefully, or at least be aware of where you're at in some areas. And if you had a hard time, don't get discouraged. It is tough work, especially if you're new, completely new at challenging your own beliefs and wondering where they came from. That's why God has created people. We're not alone here on this earth to challenge our beliefs, to help one another, and go to somebody else today and ask them what their beliefs are on the areas that you've already dived into, and see if you guys can challenge each other, and not meaning that you need to change theirs or that they need to change yours, but just having a different perspective on stuff. It might be able to help clarify or get you further at where you want to be in your belief system, especially if you are stuck in an area. Just be kind. Remember, when you're doing this with somebody else, always come at a loving manner. Don't ever try to attack. And just remember, too, that they are only man. We don't expect to trust them 100%. We can only do that with God. So go ahead for practice today. If you don't have a bolster, you can get a big pillow. I highly encourage it. And let's begin. All right, I hope you grabbed your pillow, and I hope it's firm enough that when you lay on it that you just don't sit back on the ground. So go ahead, we're going to start in lying position today. Go nice and slow. And once you get there, you're going to pick up your butt and put the pillow right underneath that sacrum area, more on like the low back. And then go ahead and straighten out the left leg. Nice and slow. Flexing through that left heel. Really feel some tension on the leg and open up this area right in front of the groin. We're working a lot on our psoas and our quads today. So go ahead, start to pick up the right knee, slow and controlled again, and go where it feels good. If you're able to pull it all the way up, great. If not, that's okay too. Maybe you notice that your bottom leg starts to pick up or bend. Just go slow so you can pay attention to what happens with your other leg when you start to move the right one. If you're flexible, it shouldn't have moved at all. If you might be tight, especially in the psoas area, you're going to notice that it might start to lift. There's other areas that could be tight too. It's not the only one. But I think the psoas is kind of a neat muscle. It's a deep muscle, and the only one that attaches the spine to the femur. So it's pretty big, and if you have low back issues, this might be one of the causes. So we're just going to stay here for a little bit, soften through the eyes. Just take some nice breaths. Breathing in God, sending your awareness on Him and in Him. Exhaling you, releasing any tension, fears, worries that you might have brought on the mat today. One more big one like that. Still active feet, engaging the leg. Exhaling you. Good. When you're ready, you're going to slowly start to bend that left one. Bringing both knees into the chest. You can rock it side to side. Just being kind to the low back. And then when you're ready, both feet come back to the floor. Go ahead with the right leg. Send it out straight, drawing a line with that heel. Activate the foot. So you're flexing it, feeling strength and engagement in that right leg. When you got that, slow and controlled, pick the left one up and see what moves or what happens with that right one. Staying here again. Breathing, relaxing through the face and the eyes. Just kind of noticing too if one felt tighter than the other. Staying in this moment of what feels good. One more full breath. Inhaling our Father. Exhaling you. When you're ready, slow and controlled, pick the right knee back up. Rock it side to side again. And when you're ready, you're going to put your feet down. Lift up the butt just enough to get that pillow out of the way. And then from here, you're going to just take your knees into the chest again and just do like little circles with the knees. That's all I'm doing, drawing circles with my knees, but I'm holding on to it, so it's giving my low back a nice little massage. Soften through the face again. Control your breath, nice and slow. Good. And then when you're ready, we're going to do that one more time, holding on to the right leg. Go ahead, straighten out through the left. Really actively reaching through that heel. Breathe in here. One more breath. And with your next inhale, bending that knee again into the chest. Rolling it out, little circles. Go the opposite way than before. And when you're ready, go ahead, holding on to just the left knee now. The right one's going to come out nice and slow and controlled. Reaching out through the heel. Breathe in here. Soften through the shoulders, the face, the jaw. One more big breath. Always bringing God in your breath when you can. Send the awareness. Inhale, bring both knees into chest. One more time. Rock and roll it out. And then from here, go ahead. Put your feet down, about hip width apart. And get your fingertips to just barely touch the heels if you're able to. From here, you're going to slowly start to pick up the butt, ground into the hands, and start to, before you go up further with the hips, start to put one shoulder underneath and then the other one, trying to get the shoulder blades to touch. This just helps protect your neck. Your choice with the hands if you want to push the fist into the floor or keep them up at a 90-degree angle, palms face each other. When that's all set, push into the backs of the arms and lift the hips up even more. This is, again, a nice little psoas stretch. Right in the front of the groin area. Soften through the face. We're going to start to move a little bit with our breath. Exhale, you're going to start to come down. Inhale, pick the hips back up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Two more just like this. Nice and slow. Slower you breathe, the slower you move. Inhale, God. Exhale you. Good. Pick the hips up one more time. To release, to come out, you're going to pick the hands up overhead by the ceiling, releasing the upper back first. Push your spine into the mat, going to mid-back and eventually low back. Tuck the tailbone under. Just put your hands right on top of your thighs, resting the upper arms down. And just take a moment, close your eyes. And notice with your inhales and exhales how that might move your spine. Do you feel it stretch with the inhales? If not, maybe take some deeper breaths. One more real big one. You can tuck the tailbone even more if you weren't sure if you had it before. Exhaling you. Good. From here, I'm going to have you start to roll over onto your belly. And then from here, go ahead and put your head over to the right. And we're going to start to push our pubic bone into the mat, ground down through the tops of the feet. And then engage your core, and you're going to start to lift or bend at the right knee. Go ahead and reach for the foot or the ankle. And notice if you do that, if your knee starts to come out to reach it. See if you can keep your knees in alignment with the hips. And if it's really tight, this is when you can grab a strap maybe to put it around your foot or your ankle. Or if you're still bringing a lot of pressure into the low back, this is when you got the pillow again. You can just put it underneath the hips. That just helps a little bit if you're not used to opening up your growing area, the psoas and the quads. So stay here for a few breaths. Relaxing through the face. Still pushing down with your pubic bone. Think of the right knee this time reaching out to the bottom of the mat. Just creates a little bit more length in the muscles. One more full breath. Inhale, God. Exhale, you. And now if you weren't able to get the heel to the butt without any pain or easily, don't advance. I want you just to stay here and enjoy the stretch. If you're able to do this, then go ahead with your next inhale. You're going to start to straighten that right leg. And while you're straightening it, you're still holding on with that right arm. And it's going to pick up your chest. Go ahead, push down into that left hand and forearm to support your weight a little bit. Breathe in here. One more full breath. With your exhale to come down, you're going to do the same way that you got up. Slowly start to bend at the knee, letting the chest release down. Go ahead, slowly releasing the ankle. Let the leg come down. Rock out the hips. And then from here, when you're ready, ground into the pubic bone again. Engage the core. Push down the right foot onto the mat. And then the left knee starts to bend. When you're ready, you're going to start to catch it or reach with the left hand to the ankle. Or grab that strap again. Pulling the heel to the butt. Still pushing into the pubic bone. And then that left knee now is going to straighten up or reach towards the bottom of the mat. Really actively reach here. Feeling a nice stretch right in the quad area. Maybe the psoas right in front of the groin. One more full breath. Inhaling, God. Exhaling, you. Release your tension. Stay here again if this wasn't easy. If, again, you aren't feeling anything or the heel easily comes to the butt, this is when you can advance with your inhale, still pushing into the pubic bone, or still pushing the pubic bone into the mat. Engage the core. Start to straighten that leg out to pick the chest up. Breathe here. One more full breath. And with your exhale, slow and controlled, come back down. Good. You can slowly release that foot down to the mat. Rock out the hips. And then, depending where you're at, if one was tighter than the other, you can just grab a hold of that one leg. But if you're feeling like you're able to, you can start to bend at both knees, reaching for the ankles, pull the heels towards the butt. Push the pubic bone again into the mat. This just helps more with that stretching in the psoas area. And it protects the low back. Really reaching your knees back towards the bottom of the mat. When you're ready, as long as this is easy for you, if it's not, do not advance. Engage the core. With your inhale, start to pick the chest up. And we're not going for height here. We're just going for nice length. Thinking of the knees going out, chest coming forward. One more full breath. Exhale, slowly start to come down. Undo the legs and rock it out one more time. Then from here, go ahead, put your hands underneath the shoulders. Start to slide yourself forward and then slowly pick yourself up for baby cobra. Engage the core, pubic bone still pushing into the mat, tops of the feet again into the mat, active on the legs. Can always stay here, or if you would like to advance, engage the core before you start to pick up. Really go slow and see where you're moving. If your psoas is tight, you're going to be picking up the hips. To do it, I want it to be a psoas stretch. So as long as the hips stay down, keep advancing, engaging that core. One more full breath. And with your exhale, slowly pick the hips up into a child's pose. Reach the arms out. You can rock the hips side to side. When you're ready, you're going to push into the hands. Inhale, come on up. And this time, we're going to take the right foot and bring it to replace that right hand. We're going into a low lunge here, so go ahead and start to bring your hips down into the mat. And just make sure of your front knee that it's not going beyond the toes. We like to try to keep it stacked as much as possible. As long as they don't go beyond the toes, it's okay. From here, try to get your chest up if you're able to. Because when you get your chest up, that puts a little bit more weight on the hips to push them down. So again, this is a psoas stretch. Hopefully you feel it in the back, on the back leg, right in the front of the groin area. We're going to move with our breath. Exhale, you're going to come forward with the chest. Flex the front foot for a hamstring stretch. The hips are stacking over that back knee. You should never feel it behind the knee. If you are, just bend the leg a little bit, or you can push into the heel. Stay here for a couple more breaths. And then consciously bring God into the breath. When you're ready, inhale Him, come on up for that low lunge. Exhaling, you dive down into it. You can stay with your hands on the floor to help support some of the weight if it is too much. Or if you're all right and you feel comfortable with your next inhale, you're going to sweep the arms on up. Exhale down. Inhale up. I'm not just hanging in my joints. I'm still active in the legs. Exhale down. One more time. Inhales to come up. Exhale down. This time with your inhale, come on up with the front leg bent. You're going to ground down with that left hand. And with the right hand, you're going to start to reach out. Now, depending on how tight you are, you might just stay like this, trying to open up the chest. If you're able to, otherwise, you can start to bend that back leg for another hamstring stretch or psoas release. This is really, really deep, so I don't expect a lot of people to do this. Only go there if it's available to you, and now you're not compromising anything else to reach it. Hold it for one more breath. And if you had your foot, exhale, release. Inhale, arm comes up and around. Exhale down. When you're ready, one more hamstring stretch, bowing down into the leg. Inhale, come on up, bending that front leg. curl the back toes underneath and pick up the back leg here. Just doing another stretch, reaching the heel way back if you can. Chest is going to start to come forward. And we can move with our breath. Exhale, straighten the front leg. Inhale, bending, chest comes up. Exhale, bend into it. Inhale, chest up. One more. Exhale to bend. Inhale up. Good. Go ahead and lower that back leg. Take the front one to meet the back one. Go into a child's pose. Resetting the hips, rock them side to side. Take a nice deep breath, setting the breath in the back. Feeling the rib cage expand with the inhales. Release anything with the exhales. Your next inhale, pushing into the hands. Come on up. This time you're going to take the left leg and replace it with that left hand. Go ahead, nice and slow, going into the stretch. Chest is going to start to come up. And just notice if you're hanging in it. I don't want it to be that you're not activating anything. So go ahead, see what it feels like to just drop, hang, and then now activate. Think of the legs kind of coming together. So that's the active legs that I want. Chest comes up if you can. Hold for one more full breath. And with your exhale, start to straighten that front leg. And flex the front foot and come into a hamstring stretch here, setting the hips back over that back knee. Breathe in here. Again, finding God in the breath. Inhale Him. Exhaling you. Soften with those exhales. One more full breath. And we're going to start to move with our breath. Inhale, bend that front leg, chest comes up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Again, you can keep your hands on the mat, or if you'd like, you can start to pick the hands up with the inhale. Exhale, hands down. Two more just like that. Inhaling God. Exhaling you. One more inhale. And exhale. And this time, go ahead, bend that front leg again. Ground down through that right hand, putting the wrist underneath the shoulder. Open up the chest and send it to the left. You might just stay here, feeling a nice stretch again on that psoas area. Just notice if your hips are up for you able to send them down. If they're up already, you're not going to get much out of doing that. I would rather you have your hips down, and then if you're able to, grab the foot. Go for it. Keeping the chest open up. One more full breath. And then with your exhale, slowly release the foot. Inhale, bring the arm all the way back over. Go into one more hamstring stretch. Inhale, bend that front leg. Open up the chest. And then when you're ready, go ahead, curl the back toes underneath and pick it up a little bit for a high lunge. Still setting the hips down, chest up. You might just stay here, or if it's too much, you can keep the knee down. We're going to, with our exhale, slowly start to straighten that front leg, bowing down into it. Inhale to come up. Exhale down. Two more with your breath. Inhale, breathing in, God. Exhaling you. One more. Good. Inhale, bend the knee. Lower that back one. take the front leg to the back here and go into a child's pose. Rocking it out. Good. From here, go ahead, push into the hands. Inhale to come on up. From here, we're just going to cross at the ankles and come into a seated position. This is just a nice way to transition down onto the floor. So get nice and slow. And rock it back and forth. If wheel is part of your practice, you can go ahead and do that right now. Otherwise, we're just going to slowly go back for one more bridge. And we're just going to play with the pelvis area a little bit. So lift up the hips enough just to get the shoulder blades together. And then with the pelvis, just kind of tuck it back and forth. If you notice the tilt of it, kind of like arching it, and then sending the pelvis up. And just see how that feels. Good. Slowly start to bring the knees into the chest. And then we're going to do one last stretch for the quads. You're going to roll over to one side. I'm rolling over to the right side. And with the left ankle, I'm going to peel it to my butt and send the right one out. So go ahead, rest the head however it feels good. And notice, again, where your knees are at, if you're able to kind of keep them together. Think of that pubic bone coming forward. If this feels good, stay here. If you're not quite feeling it, this is when you can put a little bit more weight on it. So you have the knee already locked and secured. You're going to start to roll back onto your back. And feel a nice stretch again this way. One more full breath. With your next inhale, if you were on your back, slowly come back out to the side, releasing the ankle. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Go ahead, grabbing that right ankle, pulling it towards the butt. You might just stay here if it feels good. Try to keep your knees together. And if you wanted a little bit more, this is when you can start to roll onto the back. Don't do anything different with your knees. Keep them here and locked. And then go into it where it feels good. You'll feel more of a stretch right by the quads, maybe in the psoas area. Relaxing through the breath. If you were on your back, slowly start to come back to the side and release the ankle. Take your time to roll back onto your back. Knees into the chest. One more squeeze. You can stay here. Maybe you want to do happy baby where you hold on to the outside of the feet and have a little fun with the legs. And then we're going to land in Shavasana. Go ahead, send your legs out long. Put the hands down. Take one more deep breath in. Breathing in God, and with your exhale, surrender into the mat. I pray, Lord, that we may find peace in you and with you. Please bring us back to our authentic self. Bring us back to where we know and feel love for ourselves and others. Teach us that we have conscious will and choices. We have the choice to choose love. Let us be able to choose that today. In your name I pray. Amen. Thanks for joining me. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Namaste.